The evil that we encounter in this book, the evil that we encounter from this period in history, was so much deeper than that. It was systemic. Systemic means the whole system, every piece of it was evil. So let me explain to you what that actually means. Who's a math person? Who likes numbers? I'm going to pick on you. What's your name?
Reed.
Reed, okay. So Reed, it's 1941. You work for IG Farben. IG Farben was a German pharmaceutical company. They made medicine. They also made Zyklon B. Zyklon B was the gas they used in the gas chambers. Reed's boss walks up to him and says, Reed, I need you to do this word problem for me by the end of the day, okay? What is the fastest way we can kill the most amount of people for the least amount of money? Do that math. I have trouble even wrapping my head around the math problem. What's the quickest way to kill the most amount of people for the least amount of money? How do you think about that? But that is how deep the evil of the Nazi Party, that's how deep it was. The math problem itself is evil. Reed didn't shoot anybody. Reed didn't pour the gas into the gas chamber. All he was asked to do was a math problem. The math problem is evil. And you want to hear the super messed up thing? The guy at IG Farben, he did the math. And he learned that it was 1/2 cent cheaper to throw babies into the crematory living than it was to gas them first. 1/2 cent. He didn't shoot anybody. All he did was the math. Evil is a word problem. Evil is a tin can. I've been to Auschwitz. My father and I went together about 12 and a half years ago. We had to. And when you get to Auschwitz, there are 2 camps. Auschwitz I, which was the work camp, and Auschwitz II, which was the death camp. They're connected by a mile of train track. You worked until you were too old, too weak to work, and then they sent you down the tracks and they gassed you. So when you get to Auschwitz I, which was the work camp, they've turned that into a museum, which in itself is kind of weird to think about. You walk into the barracks, which were where the German soldiers slept. And the rooms are, if you took this lower area of the pit and turned it into a giant square, about this size. And the rooms were broken into 2 sections. One section, the big section, and then there was a big piece of glass, and then the little area. And you walk through the door and you're in the little side, and looking on the other side of the glass, in the first room, was suitcases. 300, 400, 500, just suitcases. Leather ones, tweed ones, canvas ones, clean ones, dirty ones, old, new. Some were open, some were closed. Just floor to ceiling, wall to wall, suitcases. And I was able to deal with the suitcases. You walk into the next room, and it's full of shoes. Women's shoes, children's shoes, men's shoes, fancy shoes, dirty, beat up workers' shoes, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, just shoes. It took me about 15 minutes to work my way through the room of shoes. The third room, just full of hair. Because when you arrived at the concentration camp, the first thing they did was strip you of your identity. They took all your possessions, your suitcases, your clothes, your shoes. They shaved your head. They said, whatever your name was, now your name is the 8-digit number that we've tattooed on your arm. So there was blonde hair, brown hair, gray hair, long hair, short hair. Ladies, and some gentlemen, but usually ladies, think about the amount of time that you spend on your hair. Think about how important that is to your identity. It took me about 45 minutes to make my way out of the room full of hair. And the fourth room is a room full of empty tin cans. Who has opened a tin can before? Soup can, tuna can, cat food, dog food, whatever. Just a tin can. There is nothing evil about the act of opening a tin can. But this room, that was floor to ceiling, wall to wall, open, empty tin cans. Those had been the cans that held the Zyklon B, the gas. Now this guy didn't shoot anybody. He didn't pour the gas pellets into the gas chamber. He didn't oversee the people who had to drag the dead bodies from the gas chamber to the crematory. All he did was open a bunch of cans. But when you're dealing with evil that is systemic, as big and as deep as what you see in Germany, the act of opening the tin can is evil. The tin can itself is evil. We can understand the guy in Saw. I chopped your face off. Bad guy. But it's just a tin can. You, as 21st century young Americans, have never encountered anything that is evil on a level like that. So there's the evil we can see: train cars, dogs, soldiers with guns, death camps. There is the evil of the system, the word problem, the tin can. There is a third type of evil that we are presented as we read this, that I think is the worst type. Goes beyond the evil we can see. It goes beyond the evil of the system. It's the evil that we still today, in the 21st century, here in Blaine, at Roosevelt, are still struggling. It is the evil of silence.